Hey, is it Monday night or Tuesday night? Oh, it's Tuesday night.
We were ostracized. Well, not really ostracized. That's being a bit dramatic. But I did not feel like competing against Monday Night Football. How are you, Josh?
As you shouldn't, because I want to watch it as well. It was actually torturing me last week when the Broncos were playing. I wanted to see Russell Wilson as a Bronco, but turns out I could stay away from that. But yeah, I'm glad we moved it to Tuesday.
Yeah, me too. You doing all right?
I'm doing good. How
How
are
was
you?
it was a beautiful weekend weather-wise. How were things in the shop this weekend?
The shop was Friday and Saturday was very strong, very good, so I can't complain. Business is still just fine.
Good, good, good.
Pokemon being hot always helps too. So we've got the beauty of if the sports side's a little weak one day, then the Pokemon side's hot that day, or vice versa. So
We need to break open a box of that new stuff. I've never broken Pokemon. I've watched my kids do it, but I've never broken open a box. What's the new stuff called?
Lost Origin is the
Lost
new
Origins.
set. Yep.
I just was in my feed. It just popped up. It said the best sort of cards or the cards to look for in that set. So
Yeah, I
interesting.
don't like opening it because it sells so fast. Like we don't
Yeah.
get a boatload of it in. We get a good bit of it in, and then it just sells out, and then we got to get some more of it. So
It's still hard to believe, and I don't usually some of these in some of the episodes I bring up the gem rate stats, but it like the overwhelming amount that would shock people of things in the backlog for PSA was TCG cards. A lot of that's got to
oh
be
yeah,
Pokemon. So
yep, without a
let me
doubt.
just say hello to people in the chat. Morning, ladies, from Facebook user. Come on out from behind the Facebook user shield if you're going to call us ladies. Anthony, hello, hello. And you too, Josh. Fantastic.
And
Good having you here.
if you see me just freak out and there's a big old horse fly around me. So if you see me just wig out for no reason, it's because I'm gonna catch that fly before the end of this podcast.
Josh has been swiping at this thing, and he's going to knock his Brady off the wall, and it's going to be one of the best moments of the podcast. So
But if I kill that fly, it's worth it.
it's like that episode of Breaking Bad. They made a whole episode about Walt White and this fly in the lab. It was great. So
I follow a podcast. It's a conspiracy theory podcast. It's great, but the one that they are, and they don't set out to debunk them, but a lot of the times these get debunked. But you know, the Simpsons being able to predict the future, so they've done a whole episode on that I listened to. That's pretty eye opening both ways, and some stuff that's really a head scratcher, and then some stuff that you always hear about how they predicted the future, and you'll see a clip and then they debunk it, and it makes perfect sense. But
nice. Well, let me get through the rundown. This is for folks that are tuning in for the first time. You regular guys and gals here know the script, but the rundown is sort of our agenda for the evening. We're going to go through the opening rip where we talk about something in the hobby, relevant news. Then we talk about, and this is probably my favorite thing because I love the product in the shop. New in the shop this week. Then we look behind the counter, and we've got a juicy subject this week. That we take your questions and give some advice, some hobby advice. Then stay tuned, guys, because not only are we going to show off some cards, but Josh is going to defile a Brady card. He's going to rip this card and see what's in it. And we were talking in the pregame if there was, it would be cool if there was a Brady inside the Brady, because then it would be like a baby Brady,
it'd be like a baby goat.
a little baby goat. And then after he rips that up and we talk about some cards that in our vaults, we go into what is coming soon to the shop, and then we end things with crazy stat of the week. So let's start with the opening rip. Josh, week 2 was crazy for a guy named Tua. Did you see any of that game, and what are your thoughts?
So I watched, believe it or not, the fourth quarter and the end of the game. And so I caught the best of it. Now I was peeking in specifically because I have Jalen Waddle on my fantasy team. So it was a good week there for anyone that had Tyreek or Waddle both. But yeah, I mean, it takes more than one game for me to be sold. And everyone that's preaching the Tua hype, I say, well, what about the first half of that game? From what I heard, he did not look very good. So I hope that just gives another quarterback, that we can chase in the hobby and pull in the hobby, and it beefs up that 2020 class even more. But I need to see, just like I don't panic because Mac Jones hasn't really lit up the world, or Trey Lance is injured. Justin Fields has had a rain game, and then the Packers. And so I don't want to panic after just a week or two, and I also don't want to crown them MVP after a week or two. Same goes with, everyone's talking about the Bills are a runaway. They're going to win the Super Bowl. That's it. But, just slow down. It's only week 2. They do look really good. But
yes. Yeah, it's, you know what? Tua has had a rough go of it. He's been in the shadow of some of these other bigger rookies, and so hopefully, and if you've ever seen like a interview with a kid, he's a nice kid. He's a good kid. He's a really good kid with a good head on his shoulders, and so hopefully he can keep it going, and he could be sort of the hobby darling that Burrow was last year, and the Dolphins could make a run. And yep, it was tough to watch our Panthers lose again.
So, is it not blatantly obvious that the Panthers head coach and the Broncos head coach, they need to go? You can give them grace if one bad game, one bad play, even if it costs you the game, you can't axe them after that. But when they're showing game after game, they're not able to make the most obvious coaching decisions, and it's costing them games. Man, that's not good.
Yeah, it does fall on leadership there. It's a tough job. I couldn't imagine doing my job on national TV and then having everything scrutinized. But I think you're right. I agree with you. They need to. There should be a fuse on both of them now, if there wasn't already. So
yeah.
That's
probably what it is. It's probably now they're just on the hot seat already,
and that makes it even tougher. I'm in meetings all day, and sometimes I'll have to type on some of these Zoom calls I'm on, and I literally can't type to begin with. But if you ever want to forget how to spell something, just have somebody watch you type, and you just go lose your brain. So I can't even imagine, running a team and then watching everybody. There he goes again, guys. He's going to knock the Brady. And for you guys who are listening to this on the recording, Josh is having a full-fledged. He's like having a battle with this fly, and I'm just waiting for him to knock this Brady thing off the wall.
That fly's going down. It's not like it's a little quiet fly. It's a big, loud horse fly that's just driving me nuts. And it's got an entire house to fly around, and it wants to fly around me for the last hour. And I showered today.
He wants some Red Bull, is what he wants.
I do too. I'm out.
Well, so from Tua, let's go. And you mentioned him, boy, Trey Lance. That's tough, right? And I've got some friends with some pretty big Trey Lance cards, and so if you had their ear, if you had influence on these folks that have invested into Trey Lance, you just tell them to chill, or what do you tell them to do, Josh?
Yeah, you got to hold it. I hated to say this after just 1 week, but the Niners, just if they want to compete, they need to put Garoppolo in there and let Lance sit for another year. But because what's going to happen is Garoppolo is going to go in there and they're going to do what the Niners do. They're going to be competitive in every game, and they're going to probably win the division, and they're going to flirt with, the NFC Championship, just because Garoppolo is not going to make any mistakes really, and he's just going to, facilitate them just fine. But they're thinking long term. They need Lance to get in there and get, but he's so young and now he's injured, so this may be a good thing for him long term. Like,
I
let
think
him
it takes
sit.
the pressure. I think it takes the pressure off of Trey. There's probably this small little bitty piece of him saying, "Okay, I got another year to learn the playbook." So,
Yeah, or to get comfortable with
back.
yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to probably move stuff. His prices are going to be way down. But if you got that really big card and you don't need to move it, just sit on it for a little bit. He's so young; he could have a great career ahead of him still.
Yep. So we've talked about Tua. We've talked about Trey Lance. How about some opportunities out there? I mean, what are you thinking about my guy Russell Wilson? I mean, I don't think he's looked very good.
No, they say he looks like he's 43, not 33 or whatever he is. But I haven't been able to watch any games much except for that last Monday. I watched a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't look good. But it could just be, it's going to take him a few games to get rolling and get comfortable. But it's not a good sign. And you and I were both huge on Russell. I've preached it for months.
He looks to me, and I'm not a football expert, but he looks to me like he's like kind of mechanical right now. He just looks like a robot. He's not. It doesn't look like he's playing with a lot of instinct. So hopefully, maybe it's because he's still sort of learning the offense and learning his guys there. I've heard some of the commentators say, "Hey, look, this is what happens when you don't play your starters in the preseason."
Yeah,
it's what happens. This is basically their preseason game. So hopefully, hopefully Russell start cooking here in a little bit. Mahomes, I think there's still opportunity there because his cards came down, and they haven't spiked even with his two good performances. They haven't spiked. Yeah. So I think there's just so much built in to his card prices.
I think it's a little bit of that Trout effect. Their prices were just higher than they should have been, and they've come back down to earth a little bit. But I still think, I said this 2 years ago, he's the only one that's on pace to make a run at threatening Brady in any way because he's so young and he's going to the AFC Championship game every year. Yep. Andy Reid and him are such a perfect fit that he just knows how to use those weapons and lets Mahomes use them. And Mahomes is a stud. And I hope on the AFC side, if the Patriots aren't going to, they're not there yet. They're not ready yet. They're not to the level of the Bills and the Chiefs, but let those guys duel it out. Josh Allen and Mahomes are going to duel that out for a while. It looks like.
I think the thing that will keep Mahomes from even possibly even coming close to Brady is that he's a better athlete than Brady, so he's going to find himself getting knocked around more. I mean, I can remember long stretches that Brady probably never even had to wash his uniform. Like, he never hit the ground. And so I feel like Mahomes is such a good athlete that he's going to move the pocket and get tackled a little bit more. So he may have to deal with some injuries. And we kicked around this last name before we move on to the next part of the opening rip. But this kid, Cooper Rush, I mean, you want to talk about a high-profile job? How about being the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys? What are you thinking there?
I heard a funny knee-jerk overreaction that diehard Cowboys fans were saying after Dak went down. They said, remember when Bledsoe went down and Brady got his opportunity and went in there and the rest is history? They were saying Dak goes down and Cooper Rush comes in and it's never Dak's job again, and he takes him to the Super Bowl and blah. And everyone just tore him apart and ripped him up, which that is a little far-fetched probably, but they probably thought the same back then with Brady. I'm not calling Cooper the next Brady, but it would be really cool if he ends up being a super solid QB and the Cowboys are just tough to beat with him. You never know. It'd be a good story.
Could you imagine 22 years from now, Cooper Rush's cracked ice rookie contenders auto selling for $1 million?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Crazy. All right,
to finish that, I like the fact Trevor Lawrence is looking pretty good.
He did look good. As good as he looked, Matt Ryan just looks like he's 100 years old.
And I
This
have
is
to
what
own that
happens.
one. I called Matt Ryan having a big season. It's still early. I'm not giving
It's
up
still
hope, but
early, but
I'm looking
goodness
poor
gracious.
on that one.
Me too. All right. Um, we got a couple dudes chasing some records. One, his name is Albert. The other guy's name is Aaron. Um, any thoughts on that before I bring up how many games each one has, and then I'll actually share my screen here
Yeah.
on this.
I thought halfway through the season, Judge was on such a Judgian pace that I thought that's sweet, but like every other year and every other guy, he'll fizzle out late in the ceiling and or season and cool off, and he'll end with 51 home runs or 50 home runs or something. But this dude is going to break Maris's record. Like
Let's
you said, what he's got 14 or 17
let's
games
take a
left.
look. So, let's see, try to make this easier. And for you guys who are listening, I'm bringing up the final dates for Judge right now.
Because he's at 59, so he needs 2 to tie.
Yep. So let me bring that up. Nothing better for podcast than to have visual visual content. So this is what we're looking at as far as Judge. And so I've picked, because I'm a romantic and I want him to do this at Yankee Stadium under the lights, I'm saying that he does it on September 30th versus Baltimore.
So I will be a realist. Man, if you really wanted to be a romantic, what about the Red Sox in Fenway on the 25th? I mean,
You like
you have to hit 3 in about 6 games, but
Yeah.
boy, that would be a story. But
All right.
I think it'll probably be in Toronto
Okay.
when no one's watching.
On a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my prediction, but I hope yours is right, or I hope that Fenway one is right. That would be pretty awesome to do it against the Red Sox. Hit one over the monster to.
No kidding. That'd be great. All right. And then the next one I want to look at is, I think this one's going to be tougher. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games for Albert to hit 4 home runs.
I'm going to predict. It looks like you've got it October 2nd, about four games before the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So October 5th is their last game. Is that right?
Yep.
I think he's going to be sitting at 699, and some pitcher is going to have mercy and groove him one in that last game. That's my prediction.
That would be cool. I don't know if the competitor in him would probably be like, no, I want you to pitch to me, but that'd be cool. All right. So
yeah, they're not going to talk about it. He's just going to do. We talked about this in the pregame. If it were me and he was on 699 and I was pitching, I would groove him down the center of the plate until he hit. That way I could be linked forever in history in the record books, at least if it was not for the record, it's being part of it. So
well, it's a tough thing, right?
That's the egomaniac in me, but
you don't want to be, like I said in the pregame, you're not going to have pitchers brushing them off the plate, but you also don't want to be the guy. Like, you don't want to be the team that gets no hit. You don't want to be that team, but
and no one wants to be the guy that I should say, because I would, but almost nobody wants to be the guy that gives it up. But
right. Well, it's exciting. It's one of these things that we made. I mean, in our lifetimes, I don't know who else is close to 700. I think they even maybe mentioned Cabrera. Miggy is the only one who's even close. But it's going to be another 10 years before Judge is in the 600 range. So we'll see. It's exciting. Playoff baseball. The Braves are doing great. They're making a run. The Mets are going to have. It's either going to be the Mets or the Braves. They're going to be either going to win and then have the wild card. So the NL East is all set. But it's we're heading towards a pretty exciting postseason.
It's when baseball gets really good, like basketball.
Absolutely. All right. let's move on to what is happening or what's coming to the shop. Josh, what do we
Yes.
have hitting the shelves this week at Grand Slam?
So tomorrow, Gold Standard Football 2022. Those are the gold bullion looking boxes. We have Chronicles Hobby Basketball. So people tend to hear Chronicles and kind of poo-poo it, but this is the good. This is the pro jersey hobby box, and it's like $249.99. It's an affordable hobby box with a couple autos and some numbered stuff. So those are the two that launch tomorrow, and we'll have those in the shop. And then got a big delivery of select football blasters in today, and people have been waiting because select hobby is $1,600 a box and H2s are $550 a box. So people that want to get their hands on some select, we just did a break right before the podcast of some select retail, and we'll be posting another one hopefully tonight if I can get my poster to post one, and then we'll have the blasters down at the shop tomorrow. So I know people have been waiting on those. So that's what's new in the shop this week. And then coming, because that's it for this week.
Yeah.
For the
this week.
I forgot to put this in there. TriStar full size autographed helmets.
Ooh.
Those should arrive tomorrow as well. And those are always popular.
Nice. Real quick about Chronicles basketball. I know Luminance football just released 2 weeks ago, but the Chronicles product is where you're going to get Luminance basketball, correct? Like there's that famous jaw card
where he's dunking over.
Where he's dunking. So you're going to get, so that's one of my favorite products is Luminance. So that's where you're going to get the Luminance basketball in their pro jerseys, right?
Yeah. And I always remind people when they're kind of like, Chronicles, we pulled in a break, one of the biggest cards out of the shop of the year at our store, and it was out of Chronicles Draft, which is even worse than Chronicles Pro. But that gold vinyl 1-of-1 Trevor Lawrence auto came out of Chronicles Draft. So they put some bangers in that product. So don't sleep on it. And it's a good price too. For
anytime you can get a basketball hobby box under $300. Is that what you're saying? It's going to be in that 250 range?
$250 a box, and you got 2 autos and a mem and a bunch of numbered cards. So
that's awesome. Yep. It's a fun rip. Yep. So, and then you said Gold Standard. I don't know much about Gold Standard. What?
Yeah, the boxes, darn it. I have some. It arrived today and it sells tomorrow, but the boxes are literally shaped like gold bars. Okay. So they're really cool looking. It's like seven or eight cards. I think 5 of them are hits, either jerseys or autos, and then a couple numbered cards. So
it's like
not a lot of cards.
Like an Obsidian product.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. All right.
Yep.
Well, get to the shop tomorrow for those releases.
Yep.
And then you said Pokemon is still going strong there?
Oh, yeah. Pokemon's always going strong. We don't have a super new release. The Lost Origin set launched last week, so we still got some, though.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, you may have seen it on the thumbnail, and Josh and I wrestled around this subject and whether or not we were going to talk about it, but I think we needed to. Topps has released a statement about Topps Chrome Baseball, the newest release. It just released, right? Friday?
Yep, last Friday.
Apparently, the super short prints of Bobby Witt, Julio Rodriguez, Spencer Torkelson, Hunter Green, and C.J. Abrams were not put in the product.
Oops.
Yeah, someone's getting an email tomorrow about that. But and content creators all over YouTube and Instagram and whatever, they are absolutely ripping Topps and Fanatics a new one about this. Josh, what's your quick take on this, and then we can sort of kick it back and forth about this situation with Topps Chrome baseball.
So my take is, if they're ripping this product apart, as in the sense like you were saying, like, don't open this, don't buy it, don't support this, that's like a huge knee-jerk reaction. Our distributor sent this is what my distributor received from Topps in a message. That all future shipments of Chrome and for customers that have already purchased product through hobby shops will be provided one additional 2-card silver pack for each 2022 Topps Chrome baseball hobby box purchased, which we sold out. We sold a lot of them since Friday. Over the weekend, we pretty much sold all of them. The short print parallels will be randomly inserted in these packs. So that's how they're going to try and remedy the situation, by giving these 2-card silver packs out. But that's not all you're chasing in these products. So that would be my biggest takeaway. It's like your odds of hitting one weren't good anyway. And I know it takes away something to chase, but there's still plenty of fire in those boxes and plenty of reasons to still buy those. But you actually heard about it before me, believe it or not. And I'd be curious on what your thoughts are too.
Well, number one, we're talking about Topps Chrome, hobby box. And what were you selling these for, Josh?
So I got my first allocated batch, and we priced it about lower than anyone else. I think we were at $230 per hobby box, which was like $100 cheaper than the internet, I think.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
And while you had a fantastic price on it, I have seen some other places where you could get this hobby box for under $300. Not quite where you had it. That's why it's gone. But come on, guys. We still live in a world where a hobby box of any sport under $300 is a fantastic deal. This isn't 2015 anymore, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is primo product. This is on-card autos. This is top Chrome.
And the short prints, the super short prints that are in this product, Shohei, a guy named Ken Griffey Jr., Wander is still a super short print, Jackie Robinson, and another banger of a prospect, O'Neal Cruz. So those are in the product.
Yeah.
So people are losing their minds over 5 guys that 4 years from now, maybe their autos may be worth $10. I mean, yes, J-Rod looks great. Bobby Witt Jr. looks like he could be something. Torkelson, hadn't heard much about him. Hunter Green, he better turn out to be, Verlander, because he's a pitcher. So he's a long-term hold anyway. And then C.J. Abrams, he plays the same position as a guy named Tatis in San Diego. So I'm not really sure why people are getting so bent up out of shape, because this is still a beautiful set. They're, like you said, they're on-card autos. Other things that people are saying about it, and I think it's just piling on, is that, there are so many vet autos, and the autos they don't have a white background, so they get lost. It's like if it's not one thing, it's another, and like I said, they're almost like they're kicking Topps and Fanatics while they're down.
Go ahead. This is a case of my steak wasn't cooked right, and now I want the whole meal for free, and I want my entire family's meal for free. That kind of we're gonna stir it up because the restaurant's gonna comp our entire meal if we complain enough. And if we try to threaten Topps and scare Topps that, no, we're going to spread the word, no one buy this product, they're going to roll their eyes, they're going to comp your meal, and they're going to move on and be fine. So I feel like it's the hobby's way, maybe a few select people, their way of kind of punching back at the man, for having these prices be what they are. I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of that in there. But
it's just... And I'm not going to mention who I've watched on YouTube, and I'm not going to mention names, and it's just it just smacks of a sense of entitlement about, I bought this box and I'm owed this, and we're still talking super, super short print. I don't even know what the odds are on these things, but you would have probably had to open, 10 cases to get 2 of these super, super short prints. I mean,
and you never, devil's advocate, if you're going to pay that much for a box, you want all the odds you can get. And so I get it. Like you said, there are still super short prints in there. So it's not like they couldn't pull them. There's even, and like you said, the better ones are even still in there, except for, Julio. But yeah. And then Topps is doing what they can do. Hey, we'll do our best to make it right. So when I screw up something on a break, hey, all you can do is say, oops, It isn't normal for us, but we're gonna go above and beyond and try to make it right as best we can, and then move on to the next one. So,
yep. And
so for my customers that bought hobby boxes, my distributor says they haven't yet received those packs, and when they do, they'll reach out to us on how they're going to handle it and how we're going to handle it. So, if you bought a Topps Chrome hobby box from me or from the shop over the weekend, stay tuned. You may be entitled to a silver pack. So
awesome. So, and just to end on this, look, there's no crystal. We don't have a crystal ball. Well, hold on. We got a nice comment here.
I
read this.
Anthony's teasing me for having so many kids.
If a restaurant copped Josh's whole family their meal, they would be out of business. I'm feeling you there. We're the same way. Every time we go through a drive-through, we break McDonald's. Literally. They're like, you want what? Yeah. So in case you guys didn't know, Josh has 5 kids. I have 6. So
the Brady Bunch.
Between the two of us, we got a football team. So anyway, there are no crystal balls here, guys. We have no idea what this product is going to look like in 5 years. 4 years ago, 2018 Topps Chrome had a guy named Shohei in it and a guy named Acuna in it. So you just never know. You never know who's going to come up out of this. So hang in there. And if these prices of these boxes continue to drop, there may be an opportunity there, guys. If large parts of the hobby start turning their back on this product and demand goes away and you can start picking these things up at great prices, I think there's a play there, guys. So
yeah,
that's just my.
I wouldn't get get your hopes up too high on that though. But it's Topps Chrome. People love it.
Oh yeah.
And as long as Shohei's super short prints in there, that's the one I'd want to hit anyway.
No kidding. All right, let's go ahead and move to hobby advice and listener questions. And for you guys that are hanging out in the chat, if you have a question for Josh and I, and you guys want sort of an above average answer, or maybe even just an average answer, just let us know. So here's one that was sent our way.
And remember, can I plug this? We're going to rip this Brady Dare to Tear card in a little bit. So
just a little bit. So
if you tuned in and you want to know what's inside this card, hang with us a little bit longer and you will see that. So sorry, shameless plug.
So the question that was submitted was, out of the 4, centering, surface, corners, and edges, which one has the least or the most impact on a card's grade? What say you, Josh? And I wish Aaron was here for this one, but what would you say about that?
You have a nose to this a little more than I do. I would say surface. I think sometimes that can be overlooked a little bit. I've also
as far as the least impact, you mean?
Yeah, I've seen some, cards that have like one of those little prism bubbles in it or something, and it still gets a 9. Where if it's off centered to that degree, I think you're not going to get a 9. Corners and edges, those usually get scrutinized first and the most. That's my opinion, just based on what I've seen in the past. Do you have any input on that? You've probably in time have graded more stuff than me. I know lately I've been coming back with loads of Brady stuff, but before I started getting a lot of Brady.
You are grading to get your PC and slabs though, right?
That's a large portion of it. Yeah.
And so for me, because I'm a sucker for great photography and great design, my eye goes towards centering first. As far as as what I look for before I'm even considering grading. Uh, Now, PSA has, their grading standards. They do say that there's a tolerance there. You can go. It's like what is it? There's you could be off 10%.
Hmm.
To where it doesn't have to be dead center perfect. But for me, if a card isn't centered, then I'm not sending it in. Now, maybe I've missed it. Like there's a couple cards where I just purchased some cards and then I get them in hand. And it's like, wow, that is not centered at all, and I missed it. So, and then there's stuff like Stadium Club, some of the mosaic cards. I just brought it up. Luminance. There's no borders on these cards,
Yeah, those are
so
hard.
it's harder to tell as far as centering. But I think the quick ones that you're gonna get dinged for the most is gonna be corners. I mean, you could have 100-year-old card; it could be dead center perfect centered. But after 100 years, those edges and those corners are going to be, compromised. And surface issues. You know what? The one I miss the most. It's not the front. It's the back. I
Hmm.
completely whiff on some of the back. Now I've been told and have heard that PSA they don't ding you for back issues. Um, issues on the back of the cards, whether it's the corner, you could.
Or are they just more lenient? Are they just more lenient, or they don't grade it at all?
Oh, well, they're gonna grade it, but I just don't think. I think if you have a perfectly centered card and you don't have any print lines on it and no chipping, and then you may have like maybe a something on the back. Maybe the back isn't centered, or maybe there's a little bit of a surface issue on the back. I still think you can get a 10 from PSA, um, but probably not from the other grading companies. I've heard that CSG, um, they have sort of pulled back as far as how tough they're grading. That's what I've heard. I actually, and then this will, whenever I get the cards back, I'm actually submitting some cards that were in CSG holders. I cracked them, and then I'll show you guys the grades when they come back. So that'll be interesting. And they
Interesting.
were 9.5s, and I cracked them hoping to get 10s. They weren't really big cards. I wasn't gonna
You'll
take them
probably
too
get
much.
10. I bet you money you'll get tens on those, or a good portion of them. CSG or those grading companies, I'm sure, have reports to see like X amount of percentage of our cards are being graded tens, and if it's so much off, they've got to say, all right, we're probably grading a little stricter than we should be,
Yeah.
and they probably adjust that a little bit because you grade enough cards that you have a big enough picture to look at, you can tell where some adjustments need to be made, I'm sure. So
Yeah. Well, no questions have come in through the chat, so I
that's
know
all right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what's inside that Brady card. So I'm gonna do my two cards from the vault
Yes.
here, and they're not big cards, but I do want to show them off. So I bought my first non-base. I've never owned a Mahomes card, but my first Mahomes card. It's a little stained glass card. And this
I,
one is off-centered,
yeah.
but it's beautiful, a beautiful card.
I love stained glasses. In
Um,
fact, that I've eyeballed that card at the last two shows you and I were at.
yep. And then I'm in the soccer market. I love soccer cards. Um, and there's this product that just came out. It's called Merlin, Topps
Yep.
Merlin Soccer, and looks like they have an insert called Renaissance, and it has a little stained glass look to it.
It has a very much stained glass look. Very cool.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah. So, and then one more card before you get into your spellbound. Spoiler alert. Um, so I'm trying to put the set together. I'm almost done with it, but this insert came out of DraftKings. Is that right? No, Court Kings. And so this is the rookie acetates.
Yeah, those are cool.
And so there's a whole set of them. So there's Cade, there's Wagner, there's all the big rookies from this class that you're going to see in the Chronicles product that's coming out. But these are acetate cards. In researching Kobe inserts and some cards that I wanted to get into from the mid-90s, it looked like that's when that whole acetate boom happened, and I just fell in love with acetate cards. They are horrible to get graded. You're never going to get a 10, and if you do, they're worth so much money because it just never happens. But those are my 3 cards in the vault. I'm going to make your photo bigger and can't wait to see what's inside this Brady card.
So let me show my cards first. All I'm showing is some pickups. I went a little hog wild this last week with Spellbound cards, and it's probably because Elite just recently came out, and so we got hooked on some of those. So so I went on eBay and I started buying. So I bought the complete Brady here with the Patriot uniform.
Nice.
Had the green background. So,
and these are this year's?
No, these are going to be the last couple of years.
Okay.
So this is 2021. This is last year's. This is the retail pink, which I've already got completed, but I was going on looking for letters just to put these together and have some fun building them and display them. But guys were selling the whole name spelled out. And so that's the pink comes out of retail. So I got the retail pink Brady to go along with that hobby green. And then a hobby green Brady out of 2021 Elite spelled out. So these have been hitting my mailbox about every day or so. I'm getting a new Brady in. And then don't ask me why. I think the price was just probably pretty good. But we know this guy. I'm one of the few that actually likes him, unless you're a Chiefs fan. But
those are so cool. I know that Russell Wilson actually is in the Spellbound set, so that'd be a cool one to have too.
Yeah, and if so, that's cool. Mahomes there, and I'm gonna do something with those. I just got these today. I haven't even taken the painter's tape off the shipment, but I'm just a sucker for Spellbounds. In fact, let me show y'all one other thing. This is down. If I've got a picture of it, Anthony's probably hoping I got a picture of it on my phone. This is down at the shop to sell. If you like Spellbounds and you want to get yourself one complete, me and Anthony have got this one for sale. And then we're going to rip this. There it is. So if you can see it there. So it's Rodgers, but it's been framed and matted. This is perfect for any Rodgers or any Packers fan, but Spellbound spelled out with and it's that's a large picture. Anthony, if you're in the chat, you can tell us what size that is. Probably 16 by 20 or something like that. It's really, well, you can see in the picture up on the store counter how large it is. But Anthony, shameless plug. He says we can do almost any guy. So
Anthony,
that's where I got the Brady behind me.
Yeah,
right here.
Drop a link in the chat on how to get that done. That is super cool. So before you rip that thing open, I do want to ask this. So, and we talked a little bit about it in the pregame. When you're putting a small set like this together, and we're not talking the whole base set, we're not talking about a 40 card set. We're talking smaller sets like this rookie acetate set. It's like 20 cards, so it's bigger than that. Is it more cost effective to find somebody that has already put the set together, or is it more cost effective to sort of cherry pick?
Yeah, so I think it's, at least when building the Spellbounds, it's more cost effective to pick them off one at a time, because you can talk the guy down, and it might take you a few offers on a few different B's or A's or D's, but it's so much easier to pay the premium and get the completed one. Because I do have, let me show you. These have been coming in the mail as well, just a random A, right. That I've got some other partly built ones. There's a random B. Then I got a couple Peyton Manning ones, and my goal there is I'm going to use them to spell out Grand Slam, a bunch of different letters. And cool. So I was able to get the Peyton Manning ones for like $2 a piece, where the Brady ones are like $20 a piece. So So I've been picking. They're a lot cheaper to pick off individually. Brady's get a little pricey and a little tougher, but it is pretty gratifying when you get the whole batch in on one shot and you've got it already built. So
that's super cool. All right. Let's get this.
We ready to see what's going in this?
Yep. I'm actually gonna take myself off of here. How do I do that? Well, can't do it.
Yeah, you can minimize. That's good. We still want to see it. So this is one of the hits that comes out of this year's Legacy. They're thick because there's another card inside of this card. If you're not familiar with Dare to Tears, this one's numbered to 65. I don't know. The card itself is like 150 to 200 bucks. A lot of it is because you just don't know what's going to be on the inside. So this card will still be worth a little bit after we rip it, but we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger and see what's inside this.
So
Curiosity.
Be honest, are you nervous?
A little bit. I don't want to defile the card, but I really want to know what's inside. Every rip card I've ever ripped, it's not paid off. It's always been a bummer. So maybe this
I'm calling a numbered auto.
Man, you're gonna jinx it. So I'm gonna tear it right here. If Jeff's watching, he's probably having a mini panic attack too, because you can't do this without butchering the card. There's a little tab here, and man, I just can't get it. But there we go.
Oh.
So there's our tab. This is the pull tab. Drum roll. The card just went down in value quite a bit. Let's do it this way because we're going to spoil it. So I'm going to open it on the back side and then we'll see what it is when I turn it around. And if you want to see what I'm doing, I guess I could do that. So there's going to be one wing like that. And I'm already ticked. So there it is. I take it back. It's a 1 of 1. I can see that on the back.
What?
Now it's a gold vinyl, but it's James Robinson.
Oh, the wrong Jaguar.
Could you imagine? So just so you can see, this is a 1 of 1. A 1 of 1 gold vinyl. James Robinson. Any hardcore Jaguar collectors out there? So here's what you do. You kind of fold this Brady card up because it still becomes a numbered to 65 Brady card. So there's the front, there's the back. So this will still stay in my collection as a numbered Brady card. But there it is. Gold vinyl, James Robinson, 1 of 1. A little baby goat came out of the daddy goat.
That's pretty cool.
We'll put it on the bang stand.
Nice.
There it was. Thank you for.
That's awesome. Wow, a 1 of 1.
Man, would that have been Trevor Lawrence?
Oh my goodness.
Sweet.
I saw the Jaguars and I was like, oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, before I saw 1 of 1, I saw James Robinson and my heart sunk. But the 1 of 1 definitely makes it fun.
That definitely helps. Now, don't you have another? Don't you have another one of these?
I have a guy that's selling me another one. He needs to bring it to the shop, and I hate to say it, but I think I'm going to end up doing the same thing. So.
See, that's the one. That's the one with the auto in it.
All right. Well, we'll do that on a future podcast.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Those were our cards from the vault. Let's wrap things up with a look at what's coming to the shelves next week. Josh, what's coming?
Yeah, so I'll just run down the list because these dates have been bouncing around, so there's a chance that this could change. But Immaculate Collegiate Football, so always a nice one, even though it's collegiate. It's still a hot product. Panini Elements, definitely a hot hobby football product. Score Football, which is usually out by now. It's usually one of the first hobby football products. So 2022 Score. 2022 Prism Baseball. Unlicensed baseball. So you'll get that Prism product at a much cheaper price. That always sells well because it's a fun rip. Topps Pro Debut Baseball and Leaf Flash Football. Those are all on the docket for next week. So I'll get my credit cards ready.
So quick flashback to the very first break I ever bought in. One of your breaks was I think it was like a mixer.
Yep.
It was like, I think it was Luminance, Elements, and Origins. It was these 3 products. I had no idea what I was doing. I had just gotten back into the hobby, and I was like, and I think I got like a Derrick Henry or something of this, and it was I didn't even realize it was a metal card until I got it.
Yeah.
So Elements Football. Again, these are there's not a lot of cards
right
in this box.
Yeah.
But they're super cool, right? Like,
yeah, they are made of metal.
They're
like,
literally metal.
Yeah.
Now, are they like, will they have like the peel thing on them?
Yep. I've got several Brady's in my collection that I haven't peeled the thing off, of course, but they're numbered to different ones. But each box has, in the past, it used to be 4 cards. Now they've upped it to 5. You get one more card in there, but numbered metal cards, and they number them like the gold is numbered to like 45 because it's the 45th element on the periodic table. So they'll do that. Whatever the periodic element is numbered to on the table is what the card will be numbered to. So I saw the Brady gold and I was like, whoa, this is going to be super short. And it was numbered to like 45 or something like that. But yeah, I can't remember.
Only out of 45, gold Brady.
Golds are usually 1s or 10s. So give me a break.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some of that get broken at the shop and seeing some big pulls. So that's all coming next week.
Yep.
Before we wrap things up, has that break posted? Have you heard if that additional break got posted?
So I don't think it's up yet, but the goal is by the end of tonight or early tomorrow, there'll be another select retail cheap break posted on the break page. So if you're one of our breaking customers, just go to GrandSlamBreaksRockhill.com and grab a spot. We'll break it tomorrow.
Awesome. And then mark it on your calendars. October 15th.
Yep.
Trade night 11. We're hoping for great weather so we can extend things out into the parking lot and have another great trade night. I think once the cooler weather and us being able to spread out a little bit more, I think it's only going to add to the evening and make it even a better experience for everybody.
Yep, gonna be fun.
All right, crazy stat of the week. Mine's gonna be a little scientific, so I'm gonna do mine first and then end on yours because yours is a banger. It's sort of
don't hype me up.
So I. As many of you guys know, I'm into the soccer card market. Josh, not so much. You probably know just the big names, right?
Maybe.
For soccer, but and here's one of the reasons why I started turning towards soccer. Number one, because everybody was in basketball and football, and I needed a space that wasn't so crowded. But I'm going to share my screen here. And for you guys who are listening, I'm sharing a window that has estimated print runs. And this is I couldn't find anything on like Prism. So this is just hoops. All right. NBA hoops. Fun product. And here, the estimated print run for each veteran card. And I wish I'd found Prism because then they'd have an estimated print run for the silvers. But this is saying that in hoops, just base of the veterans, each veteran card has 108,000 of those cards floating around.
Wow.
The rookies in hoops, there's 72,000 base rookies. All right. For Topps UEFA, Topps Chrome UEFA, which is the soccer product for this year. Look at how many base of each player. There's only 48,000. So you're talking about half the population in just base. And then look at the refractors. This is why I wish I had found these numbers for Prism.
Yeah.
Because now you're talking the refractors is less than 5,000 for each player. And so this is one of the reasons why soccer is attractive to me, because there's just not as much of it floating around. And so values in cards are, a lot of it has to do with popularity of the player. I get it. But long term, if you're talking about value on cards, then you're talking about how rare that card is.
It's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought. If you think down the road, if soccer grows to the popularity of some of these other sports and guys go back and look, there's just not going to be those as many of those cards as the others, and something to think about for sure.
There you go. All right.
My crazy stat is off topic, but I came across it and it just kind of like made me go, huh. So who do you think the best shooter in the Curry family, best 3-point shooter in the Curry family is? You would say, well, it's Steph Curry, no doubt. Fun fact, Seth Curry happens to be a better 3-point shooter than Steph Curry. He has a higher career 3-point percentage than Steph Curry by 1.1%. And so there was an article where Seth was talking about it, saying that he considers himself the better shooter in threes out in the family. So he says, I say, look at the numbers. That's what I say when asked about it. He says, obviously, Steph shoots more. In all seriousness, he gets them up more. It's close in percentage. But, I mean, if you got one guy to knock down an open shot, I'm taking me because the numbers don't lie. So Seth Curry has a better 3-point percentage than Steph Curry. And I just thought that was crazy. Fantastic. Seth doesn't get any love. So,
all right, Josh, any parting shots for
and
our
you're
listeners?
Muted. Michael, you're muted, I think. No, you're not muted.
Any parting shots for our listeners before we let them go? Josh, I am not muted.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I think my audio went out, so I can't hear you. This would be a good way to wrap up the podcast.
Well, guys, thank you for listening. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, drop us a review, comment. We love all our listeners, and great having you guys here on a Tuesday night. We'll see ya. Bye.
I can read lips. See ya. Bye, guys.